Welcome back, fans. Bet you never thought this day would come, but guess what? Another Face Off Show episode is here live right now. And unfortunately, our good buddy Jeff Ponder no longer with the show. We wish him the best of luck in the future, but moving forward, we're going to have some guest hosts from Blues social media. Our first inaugural hosts are from the St. Louis Blues Lounge. We love them. You know them. From the past, we've done a lot of polls in the past with them, and now they're here live to chat blues with us. Welcome. We got Danny and we got Johnny here. Welcome, boys. How do you feel?
Feel great. Just living the dream, man. Happy to be here.
Feeling good. Love to help you out. Sorry to see Jeff go, but enjoying this Blues season so far.
Absolutely. It's been easy to be a fan this year, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So what's up with the Blues Lounge? What's the hot news?
Well, we're going to try and start planning another outing, maybe mid-March, late March. And the location is not yet determined.
TBD.
But we will get that squared away and hopefully get something for you guys soon.
And we're always looking for more positive feedback to help us out with our game day thread or ask an official thread or post-game thread. I mean, we try to keep it creative and keep it fresh and keep everything rolling.
Absolutely.
There you go. Fans, look them up. Facebook what is it? What's the Facebook page?
It is St. Louis Blues Lounge.
On Facebook. Check them out. They're also on Twitter at The Blues Lounge. Don't miss it. They got tons of great info, great game threads, as Danny already spoke to. And you know what? They're doing big things. They got merchandise. You want to buy a Blues Lounge shirt? You want to buy a flag? Go for it. Do it. It's great, and they have it. All right, we're going to jump right in now, though. We got to talk about some not so great things up front. Last week, the Blues looked like they were a little under the weather, maybe feeling a little tired about their stretch of, 10 games in 14 days or something like that. And they had a couple tight games that they pulled out victories, and then a couple losses we hope to forget about soon. What are you guys' thoughts on these?
Well, like the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, 7-1, not exactly ideal. They just did not play well that game. It was one of those games where all the bounces don't go your way, so you can't really fault them. It happens throughout the season. That's why they play 82 games instead of 14, but we were hoping for a lot better of an effort that game. More specifically, to start off that run, it was a tough game at home against Tampa, and we end up pulling it out in OT with a beautiful goal from Schwartz. Oh my gosh, highlight reels. Is that better than Tarasenko's goal against the Rangers? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It was a phenomenal individual effort. It was great.
I think Schwartz has definitely been taking notes from Tarasenko in practice to pull off a move, something like that.
Yeah, he said that in the post-game interview too, so I think he has. But, those moves looked like they were all his own. From a knee scoring.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, and let's not forget Elliott's play either. He was absolutely tremendous in that game.
Oh, my gosh.
Kept us alive, kept us rolling.
Since we got such great memories, he had how many shots?
31, I believe.
31! Whew! Look at Johnny on top of it. Only let one goal up. That's a .968 save percentage. Are you kidding me? You can't ask for anything else from your goaltender. Moving on out, obviously we saw a Tara Snipe show again. Hashtag Tara Snipe show. I'm trying to get that trending. It still hasn't yet for some reason. I don't know why. But off the post, straight top cheesemo. Danny, what are your thoughts about Taro?
Oh, I think he's doing excellent, especially on that sniper. That, kind of helped put everybody back into the game. Elliott standing on top of his head. Right when you need a goalie to stand on his head and maybe steal a game, you got Tarasenko helping him out. And let's not forget, Stats needs a big win off of that draw to even provide that shot, to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and a lot of people are hating on Stastny this year, but you know what? Historically, throughout his career, he's had some problems coming back from injuries. Not problems, but he's just a little slower than some coming back from injuries. And it's great to see. He's been a silent leader all year, and people don't give him credit for that. But at the end of the day, he did make that play, and you're right. If he loses that faceoff, we don't even get a point out of it. We definitely don't get 2 points out of it. We don't get to see a 6 Schwartz snipes out of it. We don't get to see anything. Taro doesn't go bar down. I mean, that was all made by Stastny, so I'm glad you brought that up, Danny. And moving forward, we got Buffalo coming in. That was kind of a lackluster game, to be honest. We pulled out a 3-1 victory, but at the end of the day, it's not the style you want to play. Actually, it was on the road. They didn't come into town, sorry fans, but 3-1 victory against Buffalo kind of seems like a loss.
Well, and I think you can't look at it that way. A win is a win, and you got the 2 points, and that's what matters. You're not going to play fantastic hockey 82 games in the season. It's just not going to happen. So you get the 2 points, you move on, you learn from it.
Great points, Johnny. Great points. Moving forward, we had that Sunday matinee game against Chicago at home after a long road trip, but at the end of the day, it spelled a Blues loss. We were hoping they'd pull it out. Really a 3-2 game. Well, let's not count the empty netter, 4-2, whatever. But great things, if we're going to talk about positives from it, we saw that the Blues, even when they play terrible and look a little tired, have what it takes, even with injuries, to keep up with the Blackhawks this year and still beat them. I mean, we could have won that game.
And note, too, you didn't have a Shattenkirk and you didn't have a Laterra in the lineup.
Exactly, and we still pulled out, well, we didn't pull out anything. We ended up with 0 points and given a division rival too, but at the end of the day, you got to take the small victories. It's a long season, as we said, 82 games is played for a reason. They're bouncing back, and it's great to see that they have that camaraderie. I think the best thing was after the game, I don't know if you guys saw any of the player interviews, but not one person made an excuse. Petro said, we need to tighten up on D. Backus said, they scored a power play goal, and you know what? At the end of the day, that was the difference, because we didn't. That's the sign of a true team, and that's the sign of somebody that's going places, hopefully in the playoffs, because let's be honest, nothing matters until April anymore. We've seen this team do great things in the regular season. We want to see it in the playoffs when it matters.
Yeah, I definitely think with Pietrangelo taking the blame on himself and with the rest of the guys saying that they have to step up their game, I mean, we could all see that they were getting tired, especially from that Columbus loss. The Chicago game, you could tell in the third period, they just were simply running out of gas, trying to stay with them. Had we been fresh for that whole game or not had so many games recently, then I think we would have definitely beaten the Blackhawks fairly easy. But
we've had their number this year.
Yeah, it's good to see that Pietrangelo and the rest of them aren't putting fatigue on their blame. They're pointing the finger right back at themselves and saying that they can always improve.
Absolutely, and that's why they're doing as well as they are, and hopefully why we'll see great success coming in the playoffs this year. Moving forward, they had a great win against Arizona. Well, I don't know if you'd call it great. I mean, Steen and Jaskin cracked the score sheet. Jaskin's been looking awesome so far this season. Oh, beast mode for sure. 220 pounds of raw steel, and let's not finish that, but you guys can guess where I'm going. But only a 2-1 win over the Coyotes. I mean, I know they beat Chicago the night before, but you're playing a team that played the night before. Tough game, overtime game against the Blackhawks. And then we come in, we control the play, but we still only have 2 goals to show for it. Luckily, it's also 2 points.
Well, I still think Arizona has really stepped up their game here in the past month. They're not the same team that we faced earlier in the year when we won 6-0, and Schwartz,
2 touchdowns on him.
Had his hat trick against them, or with Tarasenko.
Schwartz actually, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but another Blue, I believe Backus, also had his hat trick against Arizona. Actually, yeah, Backus had the 4-goal game against Arizona.
4-goal game, and Tarasenko, the one I was referring to, was against Dallas.
There you go.
So now that we got that sorted out, but
you look at this Arizona club, and they're just coming off a win from the Chicago Blackhawks. That puts a little confidence in their heads. And they played a great game with us. Smith played absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, we cannot not talk about Mike Smith in that game. He was going post to post like a pro. His glove, I mean, open your eyes, find a surprise is the Blues fans' perspective. But overall, his glove was sharp. He was playing well. And Mike Smith, I mean, what else can you say? He kept him in that.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I would just like to add more on the on Jaskin. He's a big 220-pound player, just like you said. The only thing he lacks right now is maybe a little bit of speed, but Hitchcock has even said it himself. Once he gets that speed up underneath his belt, he's easily a top 6 guy. He's still in his development stages. Hopefully, now that he's got this goal off of his back and he's feeling the fans' love and appreciation, it'll make him ease up a little bit better, and we may see a bunch of more goals out of him.
Absolutely, and if he sticks on the team long enough, which we think he will here at the Face-Off Show and in the Blues Lounge group, he'll be with his buddy Barbashev. And imagine the chemistry they're going to have. I mean, Barbashev is a breakout player. Him and Fabry are coming up as early as next year, even though I think it'll be a couple years before they're effective at least. But imagine what you got when you got Beast Mode Jaskin mixed with Barbashev, the Chev, just going to the middle and just dangle sniping. Then you got, oh my gosh, we can't even talk about the rest of the superstars. We'll get too off topic. But good things are coming, especially with Jaskin. That was a great point, Danny. Moving forward again, we're going to look at this week's games coming up. We got some tough ones coming in, and actually on the road. Tampa at home, that's going to be difficult. I believe they lead the league with a .884 win percent at home, and they just got done losing to us at the last moment and in overtime. come from behind victory. Now they're going to want blood.
Yeah, and you know they're going to be mad. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to go. If you caught Bishop at the end of the game, he was frustrated. He was throwing his stick down
Not
the
a happy
hallway,
camper.
Was not happy. He's going to bring it, I guarantee you.
Then moving on, I mean, the road gets a little easier for one game, then it gets tough again. We're going to Florida from Tampa. Florida's been playing great, especially at home, because they know if they don't, they're not getting any fans. So, that makes it pretty easy for them to play great at home. Lou has looked like his old self in net again. I think he's got the freedom he needs down there. And, they're playing tough, but let's be honest. If we don't get 2 points out of that game, it's a letdown for us.
And I believe my standings are correct. Florida right now is only 4 points out from being in a playoff spot. So it could be one of those ones that comes up and bites you. Where you least expect it. So the Blues still need to not take Florida any easier than any other team. They could definitely come back and backfire on us. But I still believe the Blues will come out on top on that one. But like you said, a real tough game against Tampa Bay, especially with them holding a grudge with the last game being so recent.
Absolutely. Florida is no longer an easy state by any means. Tampa's been good for a while. The Panthers now are coming up hot. And it's just, it's going to be a tough road trip, but luckily the Blues seem up to task lately. They come home after that, Dallas at home. That'll be a great contest. Dallas has been fairly inconsistent this season overall, and as of late as well. They've played up and down, so, we'll expect another 2 points there. It might be where we give Dallas a point, but to be honest, they're not exactly in a place where we have to fret about that extra point going to Dallas. And then we got 2 huge Eastern Conference, I wouldn't call them rivals, but big games, both at home against Boston and Pittsburgh, a Friday and a Saturday back-to-back. What do you guys think about this series?
Well, as far as the Pittsburgh the game, I'm really going to be looking forward to the dynamic duo of Crosby and Perron. The chemistry between those two is pretty magical, but it's going to be fun to watch. But let's contain them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's not hard to play with the Sidney Crosby. And if I was David Perron, I'd let stuff bank off my butt and into the net too. Drive the net hard. That's all you need to do. I think we'll probably agitate Perron a little bit coming back home. And I think, he's had success against us while he played for Edmonton. So we'll see if he continues that against Pittsburgh. But we also got Boston coming up, and they're just a heavy-bodied team, always a big battle. So those will be 2 big games and hopefully 4 points for the Blues.
Yeah, anytime you can take any sort of points away from an Eastern Conference team, whether it be Boston or Pittsburgh, will definitely be a huge help. Going back to the Pittsburgh game, I'm still also interested to see how Marcel Gotch, our newcomer, plays against his old team. That's always a fun matchup. And like Johnny mentioned, having Perron back in the building is always a good time.
Absolutely. And you know what? Gotch might not crack the score sheet, but at the end of the day, I bet he wins a bunch of face-offs.
Yep, definitely.
All right, now we're going to get into our fan questions. You guys will never be able to guess where they came from. Absolutely not. If I gave you 3 guesses, you'd need 20,000. So don't even worry about it. But guess what? I'll tell you anyway. They came from the Blues Lounge. Shocker. And we got some great ones, actually. We had to pick and choose, guys. It took a while to come up with our best questions. So thank you very much, Loungers. Thank you for the great questions. We'll dive right in. We got Aaron Sizek with the first question. What's he ask?
He says, with less than 30 games left in the season, how do you feel we compare to other top teams as far as depth?
You guys mind if I tackle this one first?
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, first off, we got some of the best depth in the league. That's been made very clear throughout the season with key injuries. We had Schwartz go down for a while. We've had Laterra out for 8 games. We had Seaguns not even make an appearance till like late November, early December. I mean, we've had key injuries throughout the season, and we have not let that affect our play on ice. We're still getting points. We're still among league leaders, not only in the conference, but the division as well, because a lot of times, let's be honest, the Central Division is probably tougher than the Western Conference as a whole. We might be a little biased in that regard, but look at the points. Only Anaheim really holds a candle to the Central Division. So, it's been great to see how much our depth has come into play, and it just shows that we're a true contender this year because Ratty's barely even been called up this year, and Yaskin is now a full-timer.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I really think now that the season is over the halfway point, we're not really relying on the STL line to score all of our goals. You're seeing more production from the first line. You're even seeing more production from the fourth line with Reeves popping in a few goals here in the past couple weeks. So to answer, how do we stack up as far as depth? I think we're doing really good, really well, and everything's looking amazing right now as far as depth.
Absolutely. And don't shoot me for saying this, but if Berge can keep increasing his play and worth on the ice, he's going to be that big body we need on that third line, and that's really our only gap right now. Our fourth line is strong, and our top two lines, as we all know, the SOB line, Steen, Oshibakis, for those that don't know, they have combined for, I believe, 62 points in the last 17 games. Let me say that again. 62 points, 17 games. Holy cow.
And I think also if Berglund is our biggest worry and our biggest problem, that's one hell of a team we're putting on the ice when that's what our complaint is. I think a lot of teams would be lucky to have a guy like him, or
especially defensively.
Especially either of our third liners or our fourth liners. We're stacked all the way through the top 12, and it's good to be on this side and to be this picky about how well of a team we have.
Absolutely. You hear that, fans? Listen to Danny. He knows his stuff. And that's exactly what we're going through. We have so much depth that we're complaining about people that are still playing well. All right, thanks for that question, Aaron. We got our next question. It was actually from Chris Pruitt. He asked,
he said, with the trade deadline rapidly approaching, what would be the most beneficial route for the Blues to take?
Well, we kind of hit on this a little bit. I believe we're kind of in accordance here where we think we have all the pieces as long as they play up to par. One thing I'm hearing around the league is we might need that depth center, which, again, we hit on a little bit with the Berge issue in the last question. But I think overall we do not need to make a move. We need to get healthy, and we need to focus on playing north-south hockey like Hitchcock has talked about all year to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a good position to be opportunistic in our quick transitions to lead to more goals.
Absolutely. If I had to pick, I would maybe say bolster up the defense just a little bit more.
A guy like Pollock sure would be nice right about now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you got Shattenkirk down, you need to have somebody step up and take the reins, and hopefully that guy's Pietrangelo, Bouwmeester.
Yeah, absolutely. And splitting up Petro and Jabo seemed to work pretty well last night. There were some miscues up front, but by the end of the game, they were fluent.
I really like how Hitchcock has realized the magnitude of being without Shattenkirk. So you saw in last night's game how he split up Pietrangelo and Bouwmeester, put them on both, the top two lines instead of on the same line together. Spread that wealth out a little bit, and so far everything's all good with that. I'm happy with it, and looking at Armstrong's past history, don't be shocked if some sort of move is made. But I'm very content with the team that we have. I would be comfortable going into the playoffs in April with the team that we have right now. But you know how Armstrong is. He'll always pull the trigger if he has the opportunity.
Absolutely, especially if he thinks wholeheartedly it's going to make our team better, and that very well might be a move on the back end to bring somebody in like a Kimmo Timonen from Philly. That name's been thrown around a little bit. Or even somebody from the Bruins. We know the Bruins have been in talks a lot with us this season about some prospects and some current players. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, nobody knows until March 2nd comes and goes. So we'll keep ourselves on pins and needles. But at the end of the day, whether we make a move or not, we have a great team. It's one of the best depth teams we've ever had. And there's a reason they're breaking records this year and last year. And I think it's going to mean exciting things coming in April and May.
Absolutely. And we even have a chance to break the all-time season point total.
We have a chance.
I don't want to jinx
every year.
it, but there's a chance. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's always fun to watch. Keep an eye out for.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. A huge thank you to Johnny and Danny from the Blues Lounge. Keep doing what you're doing. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being on the show, the first ever official St. Louis Blues social media co-host of the Face Off Show, going down in history. And guys, there's only one thing left to do. Let's go Blues!